I've done some different like little things, but never a podcast actually.
No?
No.
First one?
No,
Okay,
first
cool,
one.
Man. Yeah.
We're popping cherries over here, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Wealthy Marketer Show. I am your host, the Wealthy Marketer, and in today's episode, I have a very special guest, the infamous Lee Solo.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Awesome to have you here, man.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
Totally. You were high on my list as far as guests that I wanted to have on the show, right? Because,
I appreciate that.
We go way back, right? We're talking about like decades, 25 years, a quarter of a century.
Yep.
Right? We met in the streets of Markham.
Mean streets
right?
of Markham.
Yeah, riding your skateboards off a ramp that you probably made on your street. What was the name of your street?
Snyder, and
Snyder.
then we always rode on the Bacchus court right beside me.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So it would have been that court.
Yeah, that
That
is
court
exactly.
where we were riding skateboards and you were petitioning for
to build a skate park in Markham.
Yeah, that was like my first actual memory of you on a skateboard and like getting me to sign your petition to get the first ever skate park in Markham.
Man,
Which it did happen.
It happened, just not. Yeah, not in the first park they built was like this stupid little bowl in Milliken, if you remember.
That's the thing. That's what you petitioned
Yeah,
for.
and then which they just filled in eventually.
It was a failure. It
was such a failure,
it was
and if you remember, it was super dangerous because there was like these concrete walls that were in the middle of the bowl.
Yeah.
So if you actually were able to ride through it, if you didn't go down this little narrow pathway, you'd hit either of the walls in a bowl.
It was
so
dangerous
stupid
and inefficient.
Yeah,
but I did ride it.
Oh my God!
Did you ride it?
No,
No.
not once. I wasn't actually that good of a skater. I mean, I tried,
see.
but
Yeah.
So then they built a good park, and then we were too old for us.
We were too old.
Yeah.
They built that park when we had already retired from skateboarding, but it's probably still there to this day.
Oh,
it would be used.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The new park is like it's one of the best in Ontario.
There you go. So your petition actually did serve its purpose.
I mean,
eventually.
in the evolution, the very long evolution of skateboarding in Markham, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's good, it's good that they've been able, all these municipalities all over Canada have found a way to bring skate parks, proper skate parks, to the communities, right?
Yeah.
Because to some degree it gets kids away from like the streets,
Absolutely.
right? It gives them like a safer, more sustainable place to, practice their craft.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, but it goes to show you the era to which we come from. We kind of like grew up with all this advancement, right? It wasn't there, and then all of a sudden it started to happen, from skate parks to the internet, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about it like before we pressed record, how you had mentioned it to me, and I've talked about this before on the show. How us being born in 1981, growing up in the 80s, and then coming of age in the 90s. We really grew up with like a huge evolution of kind of like traditional media and then into the internet.
Yeah, you got to see a little bit of both sides. I think we were blessed with that last little bit of pre-internet. You know what I mean? We know what it's like to. I literally was talking to my girlfriend a couple of weeks ago about the fact that you guys remember when you would call your parents collect and you would be like, "Hey, Mama, pick me up from school right now." And instead of saying your name, you know what I mean? And you have a collect call from "Pick me up from school right now," and then you hang up. Like,
we had the
you try to explain, and I saw a TikTok video of like a mom explaining that to her kid, and the kid was like, "What?" Like.
Yeah, for sure, man. I show my kids like all this old technology all the time. And,
totally. And
they don't even know,
remember, what was it? Calling cards. I just thought of that, like calling cards and those bell machines, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And like the amount of things, and remember like being able to like press 99, then the phone number, and then hang up twice or something, and then you could make that phone ring or something.
That's true, That's nostalgic.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and that was like the fun for the moment, right? Making that phone ring all the time. Yeah,
we were so like naive and so innocent then, right? Like kids these days would like I can only imagine they would not find that as entertaining as we did, right? But
that
like
would be boring AF.
but that's what I value is that we didn't have our mind. I feel like such a distraction. Like that's ultimately what we see from the internet and social media and all this stuff. It's just so much distraction.
There's a lot of distractions that we deal with every day now.
Like yes, if you want to stay in the small window of learning some educational things, then fine.
Yeah.
But like I feel like most people end up.
Time.
Yeah, but most people end up still like 75% of the time is cat videos and shit in front of their face or some.
You can scroll through Instagram and TikTok for hours on end. And people do that every single day.
Every single day, and like, and that's what TikTok is literally. The people I know who are into TikTok, they talk about how they are like it's just like it's so addictive, and like next thing I know, it was 2 hours, and that's not good for us as humans,
probably not
right?
The most healthy use of your time.
Absolutely, right? And even if the thing I saw someone talk about it years ago is that when you go like when you're standing at like waiting for an elevator, and like like that 30 seconds that you have just to think to yourself about whatever's going on in your life, the world, but just something. But that 30 seconds is taken away now because you pull out your phone.
You're on your phone even with that elevator time.
You know what I mean? Definitely. And then like there's so many moments that is like you're robbed of that time now because you pull out this thing to distract yourself from thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't, and like it's not.
It's tricky.
It's not a
situation.
And so I find that like if you and I as adults and we have a framing of what that old time was, but we still are in the new and reality of it, and we have enough time battling with that separation. I think it's like a non-existent to the 12-year-old right now.
Yeah, like my son's 11, right? And
what is his context really of like what of the old world compared to like you know what I mean like.
Well, I don't think he really understands what the old world, what it would have been like to grow up in the old world.
Absolutely, right?
Because he grew up with like highly advanced technology in his hands, and to some degree, I think him and his friends and his generation, it's a blessing and a curse because I think that they're much smarter and more aware of what's going on.
Yeah, they're more woke. Yes, they are. But as much as I hate the word, they are more. They're a lot more conscious of everything.
For
right.
Sure.
Then I think that like that's one thing I will say is that you and I we were still also subjected to our parents. And our parents, grandparents' generation of like not being as like in power of their own mind.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like they were all just like, hey, just follow the path that you know what I mean?
The path that's been set out before us.
And you're done. And like how many times you know what I mean? Well, that's not a safe future for you and like guidance counselors and different people like all trying to steer you in these very narrow laneways when we then all of a sudden the internet happened and the world opened up to so many other things. But now the kids don't want any of those normal jobs. They all want to be a YouTuber or a pop star or whatever, right? So but I'm just saying
a good way to beat the system if you can do it right.
That's the point is that they're that much more conscious to know that I don't want to work for the man.
Yeah.
I want to be either rich and famous by like someone else's, or I want to be a YouTuber who did it my own damn self.
Do your own thing, right?
Yeah. But like same as that, I'm sure like in the world of like the business like right now that there's been like that mass exodus of people who are leaving from a lot of normal jobs.
A lot of people are leaving the normal jobs.
And I think it's that consciousness of our generation and the older generation who, like I said, still came from our parents telling them that you shouldn't stray too adventurous in the world of business.
Don't pursue your dreams too much.
Don't pursue exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And then now that after like the pandemic, they're like, life is short. I need to fucking do something, right?
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
And I'm behind in making my dreams happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
exactly. Sure. But like. Yeah. But so to the point of the younger kids though, that they're that much more conscious and woke to things. But like,
definitely.
But you trying to raise them, where does that leave you in certain ways, bro?
The good thing is, like with me and my boy who's 11, we try to ensure that he still does good in school and he gets his schoolwork done, and has this kind of like open mind to continuously learn, right? Both in a school setting, in a technology setting, and then with us as a family, right? So just trying to instill that upon him, which seems to be working. He is a good student, right?
That's good.
And then the other thing is we have him playing in basketball, and I think basketball in an organized setting, which I think is super important too.
I agree. I mean, it's physical activity.
Like physical activity.
That's the thing. That's what's at the end of the day. That's what so many of these kids are actually missing.
For sure.
Is literally
a lot of kids.
Is the physical activity part where they instead of that they play video games or they, you know what I mean. Like it's not. I think the organized physical activity makes a huge difference in kids.
Definitely, it makes them stronger people.
Yep.
And it keeps them kind of like focused on doing positive things with their life, right?
Yep. Yep.
And keeps them out of trouble to some degree, I believe. You know, so I'm just trying to keep a balance between, focus when you're in school and do good in school. Believe that you're capable of doing anything. You know, I support you in the pursuit of your dreams, no matter what those are, right? Pick a sport and like try to get good at that sport, right? And stay with it all the way through high school, right? And then, still embrace technology because you have to, otherwise the world will leave you behind, right? But, to some degree, keep it balanced between, hey, I'm gonna spend my time with the technology stuff, the video games, the apps and all that, and the social media with the other things that are going on in the real world, right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that like I traveled from Toronto, like we sold our house, we sold all our stuff, we packed our belongings into a SUV and drove across the country.
Yeah.
Do you know how eye-opening that experience was for my kids?
Okay.
Right? It just basically, they saw things from a completely different perspective in a way that not many kids get to see.
Okay.
Right?
I love this.
Those kind of influences.
I love hearing that because to hear that the kids actually were able to take it in and to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing because I don't think not every kid's on a road trip with their parents actually
a little bit rare.
No, and so as someone who has done the drive from Toronto to Vancouver.
Yeah, many times.
19 times. 19 times.
Might be a record.
That it's like an amazing. I literally, and I'm also one of the biggest promoters of that drive. Like I tell everybody, "Oh, you're Canadian? Have you done that drive yet? Because you need to do it ASAP."
Definitely.
Because it'll change your perspective of what you think Canada is.
You gain a greater appreciation for it in many ways. And then you also see some things that are funny about it too, right?
Absolutely, and I think that like ultimately, if you are someone who is from not the prairies,
right,
then you'll appreciate your home more when you see the prairies. No offense to the prairies,
because Ashley lived in Saskatoon at one point.
Oh man,
isn't that the prairies?
Yeah. And no offense to anybody in the prairies right now. I got love for, some of the prairie places. But I always think when you reach 16, why the hell did you not get in a car and leave forever?
No kidding.
Because it's just, I've done that drive so many times, but I always just wish I could do Ontario and BC. If I could just skip Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. and Alberta, then I mean the Banff is the redeemable area, but
got it.
No offense to all these people. I'm just saying, you know what I mean.
Be people that Calgary people are gonna be like, what the heck?
Calgary's the thing is that I don't see. I'm not a country boy. You know what I mean. So
you're
I don't.
A city boy.
You
grew up in the suburbs, but eventually became a city boy.
Well, and I was always in the city, even when I was in from the time when I was 13, I was taking buses and shit like that. And I grew, and I did grow up in down in North York until I was 7.
Oh yeah.
So and then we moved to Markham.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And then but not that it doesn't really, none of that matters anyways. Really, the point is that I'm city and suburbs and cottage country and mountains and everything. I'm just not straight up wheat and pickup trucks.
Got it.
Wheat and that's all there is out there, man. It's flat. There's no trees, or there's some trees, but there's no water, you know what I mean? To me, I love...
So those elements, those natural elements that kind of complete you or invigorate you, you need those to be there.
I need those. That's exactly it. That's the thing. Is that to me, BC invigorates me on a photographic level because it just... everywhere is like a freaking movie, and that, like
Yeah,
literally
totally.
that's why they keep shooting these damn movies. Did you see the Adam Project by any chance?
The Adam Project? No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man, you guys are missing out on this. It's the new Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Go see it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Endorsement
but
from Lisa.
I know, straight up.
Yeah.
But like no, but like
For all the ladies out there.
they shot it all over. They shot it all over Vancouver.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and like
sure.
and of course, because like Reynolds was like, I want to do a movie in my backyard, so he doesn't have to
Yeah.
go far. But it was
Yeah.
cool because like I know I could recognize not only a bunch of spots, but they literally shot at like right down the street from my house,
like in West Van or
and
whatever?
and
Yeah.
right at Dunder Rave, right? You know Dunder Rave, yeah.
I go there all the time. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite spots.
Yeah, they shot it right. They dressed up the Shoppers Drug Mart to say a different name.
Nice.
And
nice.
and then Reynolds is walking. I was like, oh yeah. Like, but like I
Yeah.
I love the fact. And then like so many movies are here, and like
Yeah.
I love that part of that is a huge reason of like why I came here in the first place.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, for sure. And it's also like a place that I believe that you can do like a lot of healing too, right?
Couldn't say that better. I couldn't say it better, man.
Yeah.
Like that is
I
literally
know that part that you
those
came- that was
those
part
are
that
the
you coming here
man.
for that,
Those
right?
are the two reasons I came
Yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
like literally healing and nature and
For
just
sure.
and the
And
nature.
getting your creative juices going in a different way, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
And like like just drone footage in BC is epic.
definitely.
You know.
Definitely.
And like
Yeah.
and you can do it year round.
That's true. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you can find those even spring days, like in the middle of
You can find
January.
those. You can find those. Yeah, you can find
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
And the wet days too are nice on camera as well, right?
Yeah.
In some ways,
it depends.
cityscapes.
As long as the camera itself isn't getting too
Uh-huh.
wet, that's like the main concern,
Yeah.
right? Like that's.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
So let's take it back to Markham a little bit. Like, what are some memories of you growing up in Markham, like with, your in your teenage years with like your friends, right? Say discovering hip hop, like kind of like hanging out like in the streets, going to the bridge, right? Finding the bridge for the first time.
Yeah. I mean,
you were producing music, right?
Yeah.
You had the studio
Yeah.
in your parents' basement,
Yep.
right? So take me back to that time and like bring up some memories that you're fond of from those years.
I mean, it's funny because like my girlfriend's been recently just like I gave her back 6 months ago. I gave her like all the Runtings records, the Architects. Like
my God, I remember those names.
I gave her all like and like all our music.
Yeah.
That like she had never heard or like that. And her name
Right.
is like it's 20 years old or whatever, and
20 plus years old.
yeah, like and like so like it's crazy how she's just finding it, and like she's like, oh my goodness, this is cool, and like she's like living out these moments, and for me it's crazy how it feels like another lifetime ago. And
It was so many lifetimes ago.
You're right. It was,
Yeah.
and so like in some ways I've disconnected from it so
No
much.
kidding.
So
Did you listen to it recently and like did?
I did, and so I listened to it, and I listened to it, and it was cool to listen to it. But I'm like, okay, now I'm good to not listen to that now for like another 10 years, like,
kidding.
and then I'll listen to it. But
Good,
like,
good for the history books.
yeah, like it's some of it's fine, and it's
Yeah.
fun, and like, and I love it. Like, I don't get me wrong, I would not be here today, like if it wasn't for every good and shitty thing that happened along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, and the music, it's that whole, from me starting with like getting my I literally remember the freaking first the turntables that's on top of like the one piece stereo.
Yeah.
It has like the tape deck, the radio, and then a turntable on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's
and
what you
then-
started with?
Yeah, and like so when you scratch, you're literally stopping the music. It's not like there's two tables where you're scratching and the other one's playing.
Yeah.
I would just be like just scratching, and then I remember my first ever record was Ghostface Killah, Daytona 500.
Nice.
Me and Trav went down to Play D Record on Young
You and
Street.
Travis?
Yeah,
Travis Tucker.
Travis Tucker.
Travis Tucker.
Yep. We went down to Play D Record and
Yeah.
Young Street. We took the bus and we were like 13 or 14 years old,
kidding.
and went all the way downtown, and like it was sketchy and shit. It was awesome, but like that was like, and I remember like just Young Street was so different back then, and like it's so cool to see those like sometimes those vintage Toronto videos or whatever that come
Yeah.
up, because I'm like, yes, that's the Young Street I remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
So, but in any case, like I remember, like DJing and breakdancing. We got me and Trav and Jesse Weeks.
Yeah.
Shout out
Jesse Weeks.
we started like literally like we had a couple older guys who taught us how to breakdance, and then we started like. We convinced the school to do like a breakdance competition and all that shit.
So then you got other people into it too?
Yeah, so it was cool.
So you guys are like almost like the founders of breakdancing at Markham District High kind of thing?
Well, I mean, there were some other guys who had done it a little bit more, but then all of a sudden we just decided to try to make like a bigger thing about it and have like, and it was like whatever. Like,
so was
again,
there a crowd?
Like,
Did you guys eventually?
Oh yeah, there was all crowds and there was
Yeah.
all that shit, and then like I just had an embarrassing memory for a second, because like I remember like they asked like a whole bunch. They're like, yo, ask the breakdancers to come like perform for Black History Month.
Oh yeah.
And I remember that there was like 5 white guys, and we had 1 black guy.
1 black guy.
And he showed up sick that day.
Oh shit.
So it was just 5 white guys breakdancing on stage for Black History Month.
I see.
And like in 2022, it's just not acceptable. So in any case,
should be like more balanced.
It wasn't acceptable back then. Let me just say that also. In any case, I'm just having that embarrassing memory. But like the point being is that we like and then we. I literally took the audio. My favorite class was just like the audio, the audio class. So then instead of going to like I applied to a bunch of different colleges and universities, and I got into one for audio engineering. Yeah. And that was that's where I focused on. Yeah.
And I remember you even saying, so it was Trebas Institute, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, it was like we had met up in Markham, and then we all drove to Plady Record. Right?
Yeah.
And you had said something about, I'm at Trebas and like I'm learning my craft now and I'm gonna make a living off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Definitely. I was naive.
You were all in on
that.
It was gonna happen, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think how many people, curiosity, like how many people who go to school, college, university, are doing currently what they went to college and university for?
Yeah, it's rare. You are, to some degree.
I did this circle back, and it was like this interesting thing, because I literally learned all about audio engineering, and I was super all just about audio, making recording in studio and just everything. And then the fire happened, and I dropped everything.
Oh, really?
And I literally, because it just it got
burned away.
It basically got rid of all my studio gear for me.
No kidding.
And then the only thing that survived was the camera. That I had just been getting in. Like I was into photography when I was a kid with my grandpa. My grandpa taught me in a dark room in his basement. And when we used to go around Toronto Harbor in like the freaking winter and take pictures, and then we'd go back to his house and we would develop stuff in his dark room. But then I never took it in high school. No. I just kind of put it away. And then I had like a girlfriend, and we used to kind of just fuck around and take photos and stuff like that. And then again, just put it away and just kind of forgot about it. And then I just like would take it for the occasional rapper. Yeah. And then I just noticed that I was like, taking more and more photos for a couple of rappers. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get back into photography.
Nice.
And it was like this epiphany that actually hit me just before the fire, where it was like, I spent a lot of time in this recording studio.
Yeah.
And I'm not making like gold hit records here. You know what I mean? Like, so like, I love being here and everything, but I also I want to go outside, and and you know what? The thing that I didn't like is that I'm someone who like always likes to work. I like always want to be somehow like
productive.
Exactly. So, and it's like, because I don't play an instrument, like I don't play a guitar. I always felt like if I felt like I felt like I could never go out and enjoy nature in some ways, because I could never take my studio with me into nature. Yeah. I felt like if I played a guitar, then I could go for a walk with the boys in the bush, and then or your girl, and just like play guitar, and you could sing. And I can't sing, and I can't play guitar. Right. So like I always felt guilty about literally doing a lot of. I'm like, why am I gonna go for a hike? There's no freaking. That's, you know what I mean? Yeah. But then like photography was like this way of like, I can go outdoors. I can see nature. I can be around beautiful people, and I get to still be productive.
Productive and artistic.
Absolutely.
Which I think you're probably both. Like you you love both, right?
I do love
artistic.
absolutely.
I think you're an artist in many ways. Yeah.
I'm more so on the artist side and less of that's where I think I'm. If anything, over the years, I've realized more and more that I need to be better at business.
I see.
I'm better. Sure. I'm good at being the artist.
Yeah.
But the business side of things, like many artists, it's not my favorite part of.
Yeah, I hear you.
Shit to
I
do.
hear you. But you've probably been getting better at it over the years.
I have,
years, right?
I have definitely. Yeah. Like I found like actually I had gotten a really good role right before COVID.
Oh yeah.
And I was like traveling the world and going to Europe and like, I was kicking ass, like you know
kidding.
What I mean. And I had besides just the traveling and being on tour and a bunch of stuff, I had a bunch of different corporate clients and commercial clients, and I was getting.
You're stacking it all together.
And I was getting better at being like hard ass with them a little bit, you know what I mean, and like drawing lines and being like, this is how it's done, you know what I mean. Yeah. And then like COVID happened and like got out of practice with that, you know what I mean.
No kidding. Got it. So you feel like you got to get back to it again, like with the.
Yeah, like I feel like I've been better at it again in like the last like 6 months.
Yeah.
But I to the point of what our conversation is that I feel like for me to take it into overdrive, and to take advantage of how old I am and how much time of overdrive I have left in me.
Yeah. Like the time's ticking for us right now, right? So now it's like pedal to the metal.
Yeah, like, that's it. That's it. Because that's the thing is I don't want to be pedal to the metal. Like once I turn like 50 something, like maybe 50 you can still be pedal to the metal, but like maybe 55 you're like, okay, I'm gonna chill a little bit right now. You know what I mean? Like
retired.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is
55,
well,
right?
and like I'm a photographer, videographer, like director, all those different things. Like I have the ability to take a job when I want and then space out when the next one is. But I need to build up that clout and I need to build up those finances to be able to take, bigger gaps and all those things, and to have to not have to hustle to get the jobs, right? Like you know what I mean. So
like almost have them come to you.
Exactly. So when I'm 50 years old and I've just kicked ass for a while,
for a decade, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then everyone's just coming to me and you're sitting over there like Quentin Tarantino, like I'll pick and choose what I want. You know what I mean? But like
that'd be nice.
It would be. But in the meantime,
yeah.
Need to work my ass off, and so with that said, I need to go head back to Toronto.
I understand. Yeah, for sure. So you've been kind of like traveling back and forth from Toronto. Obviously, you're a Toronto guy at heart, like wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And this is episode 6 of the Wealthy Marketer Show, dedicated to you. What are the odds?
Shout out to the 6.
Yeah. So episode 6 for basically a 6 man at heart.
Okay.
Yeah. A legend from the 6 to some degree, right? And to some degree like an OG, right? Based off.
Well, I guess
age,
yeah.
Where you're coming from, right? So yeah, but you have been Toronto man at heart, but you've been kind of going back and forth from Toronto to BC repeatedly for upwards of like 3 to 5 years now, right?
Yeah, like 5
that back
years.
and forth,
6 years.
And then you told me today that while you're living here in West Van right now, and you kind of been there off and on for a year or two, your heart's going back to Toronto, and you feel like you gotta like set up shop there, more consistently, and like be there long term. Is that like the goal here?
I mean, I think like I what I want to do is be positioned, as a more Toronto being the home base.
Yeah. And
then working as much as possible to get as many travel jobs as possible.
Right.
Because I feel like what happens for me is that it's Toronto is a better springboard for me of launching to like different jobs.
Yeah.
Whereas for here, like I only seem to get jobs that are very localized jobs.
Oh, really?
Here, and they're not, and like I haven't.
Because this is a perfect place to shoot, so you don't got to go anywhere. Right?
100. I agree. I agree. And so that's good.
Yeah.
Like so, but with that said, there's still not the same amount of things happening here for certain industries.
Right.
Right. So like we were saying, the movie industry is like doing great.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like being. I've been part of it in certain ways before.
Yes.
I eat out here, and I can appreciate. It's a lot of hard work.
Is it?
And not that I don't want to work hard, but if I am going to work that hard, It's going to be to build my own dream.
For sure. You're at that point where like you'd rather focus on your own stuff than
or at least try try your damn hardest, right?
Yeah.
And to me, trying my hardest is in Toronto. Because
in Toronto,
or the smarter try is in Toronto.
Is it because it's like a more business oriented market and like there's just a lot more going on there business wise?
I would say that like number one, it just for me is that because I grew up there, and I not just that I grew up there, but more so my business. I built my business there for 5 years, like sort of, you know what I mean, like really trying or more, you know what I mean. And that's where I just know so many people just know me, and like so much of my.
So your network is bigger in Toronto than it is.
Absolutely. So it's my network.
I can relate to that too because my network is also bigger in Toronto than it is here in BC, and I run a digital marketing agency known as Grow a Search, and I've had that since 2013, and all my clients there, they accumulated in Toronto, right? And then when I moved from Toronto to Vancouver, I still have like an 80-20 split, meaning that 80% of my clients are Toronto.
That's hilarious.
And 20% are BC.
It's funny that your stat is that because my Instagram following is exactly that.
Is it exactly that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess the Toronto people, they like to see the BC landscapes too, right?
They do, yeah. and they still follow, like I have lots of support from them, and the thing is that but I also, it's not just so, and I still have a lot of calls from Toronto, still like every week,
like, hey Lee, come shoot this.
Yeah, when are you gonna be back, or when are we gonna do this, and so to the point of like I was saying, like other than the movie business, like the movie industry is doing good in both places,
right.
But it is definitely doing better here.
Yeah.
But I saw like the stats for like last year, and like last year in BC was like something like $3.5 billion, and last year in Toronto it was like 2.7.
Okay, so they're pretty.
So
close
it's like
size.
Okay, yeah, Toronto's, but let's compare the music industry.
Right.
Let's compare the fashion industry.
Yeah.
Or many other industries, and you'll realize that like.
The industry's
Toronto.
all over in
Now,
Toronto.
but that said, like but there's so much amazingness here as well that like it makes like it. Who cares about that? Like, you know what I mean? But then
it's all about whether or not you can make it happen here.
Yeah, and for me, like if I wanted to come here ultimately and just get a job for somebody else, then if I wanted to stay here, I could stay here if I wanted to get a job for somebody else. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You want to do your own thing.
I want to do me.
Yeah. Build your own kind of portfolio of clients and projects that you can thrive off of.
Yeah.
Right?
I like to be, even if
by Lee Solo. Shot by Lee Solo.
Yeah, or even if I'm working with a team that, like, you know what I mean? Like that a couple other videographers and we you know what I mean? But like again, I do not want to work for some CEO. Like I just don't.
I hear you.
I
that's
worked
the point that we're at in our lives.
No,
right?
And I worked for Manulife Financial for 8 years.
No
you know what I mean? Like I worked for like
you did the
biggest of corporate companies. You know what I mean? Like
we used to catch the GO train at times.
Yeah.
I'd find you in the GO train at times for a few years there too. So yeah, I know you have that kind of like you've paid your dues with that corporate grind.
Yeah, and I don't want to be. I was literally at that corporate job. I bought the camera, and right before the fire, like I saw this thing that was like, just talking about how much time we spend at work every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're gonna spend that much time working, why not build your own dream instead of building someone else's?
Yeah, I think everyone gets to that point, ideally, if they want it, right? So to start build your
They do, but I would say that what it is, the risk management becomes a problem for a lot of people.
And there's so much downside to it.
Well, because and if you have kids, and
tell me about it.
If you have kids, it makes it a whole other game to try to be, to take the chances. I don't have kids.
Yeah. So you only really, at this point, to some degree, you only have to worry about yourself and the risks that you take.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good advantage. That's a good place to
absolutely.
To be
that's why
that's pursuing your own
absolutely.
Dream. So you might as well.
Well, that's what that's sort of my I don't have kids, so my babies are going to be like the movies and the documentaries I progress to, and someday, you know what I mean? And I mean, you know, I don't know if all the music videos I'm making right now are all going to be like what I'm remembered for, but like, you know, but I mean,
all good.
It's all part of the story.
You're strengthening yourself
all,
too, right?
You know, it's all part of the story.
It's your life's work that you're creating.
Absolutely.
And it's going to make you a stronger, better producer, videographer, artist, right?
Totally.
And then, you know, these projects that you're doing today will eventually lead to bigger and better projects that will one day become, you know, your masterpiece.
Absolutely.
Work, right?
Absolutely. And like I said,
the future is bright, and you could create your greatest work is in front of you.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. And I sarcastically sometimes talk about certain things, like some of the things of the past, but I actually, like, I value them so much because they literally, you know, they do bring you every video, every photo, every song that I've, you know, made, like it brought me to here.
Totally.
And it's making me still excited about the future.
For sure. And people see the work that you do, right? The right people see the work that you do, and they respect it, they appreciate it, and they're like, I want to work with Lee, right? Like even with me, like when I was kind of like building the Wealthy Marketer brand, when this wasn't even on the wall, right? And we barely had a website, I reached out to you to do a photo shoot.
Yep.
Right? And we did that long walk, ambitious walk.
Yeah.
That was so crazy, man. I'm sorry for bringing you on like such a insane 5K walk.
That was. I just wish I had brought like a one wheel with me or something like that on the scooter.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's keep going, and you're like, yo, man, we got a lot.
It was like 800 photos or some shit, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
For sure, man.
Because we had lots of options.
And some of those photos are on my website to this day. So
we got some great ones, you know what I mean? And like they're
stuff.
I love the classic photo walk, like, you know what I mean? Like I just give me a downtown area, and let's just go for a walk.
Yeah,
and
I gave you half of downtown.
Yo, the thing about Vancouver downtown is that you can literally walk across it in a pretty quick minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Because years ago, with all my boys, like when we used to go out and do all the steel wool stuff and all that, I used to like go out every Friday, Saturday night and just walk, and we would literally, you know, from Cole Harbor to the other, to this side, and like it was crazy, like how much but like Toronto, like I remember, you know, walking home at like 2 a.m. from like Parkdale, like to try to just to get to Yonge, like it.
Yeah, and it took forever.
Freaking took forever, man.
Yeah, totally,
like,
man.
Holy.
Yeah, you're not walking across Toronto all that easy.
Oh, it's just like it.
Maybe a neighborhood or two.
A neighborhood or two, yeah. But like otherwise, then you're just like, yo, screw this. I'm getting on a damn streetcar, man. Like,
for sure.
If they were running.
Yeah, if they're running.
Like,
that's the catch.
Yeah,
so
that's
you get stranded in Toronto. I guess there is that Yonge bus that goes all the way down to Yonge and Finch or beyond.
Yeah, there's a couple 24 hours, but like,
but they're messy at night.
Oh yes, they are. You jump on that bus at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and it's there might be someone smoking on it, like literally. Or doing there's a lot of bad things that it can happen. So in any case, but it's I kind of miss it.
Yeah. So part of why you're going back to Toronto is because a big part is for work, and another part is because you miss it.
I mean, I miss it in some levels. I think that'll go away pretty fast. To be honest with you,
snow hits and
no. I don't. Way before that, like literally, just the traffic and the people on the roads. The thing I like to say about bad drivers in Canada, or specifically bad drivers in Vancouver and not even just Toronto, but like Southern Ontario. Yeah. Because Southern Ontario drivers drive like Toronto drivers for the most part.
Yeah.
There's assholes in both places.
Yeah.
But in BC, they're oblivious. And
they don't even realize they're being assholes?
And you got it?
Yeah.
And in Toronto, they're malicious.
Yeah, deliberate.
Absolutely deliberate. Just
for sure.
Like, screw you, like I'm gonna do this, whereas like in BC, because I'm still like that Toronto driver who gets vexed and like who still gets kind of like, what's going on? Why is everyone going so slow? And then all of a sudden I like get past everybody and I like pull up beside the person I'm ready to cuss, and I'm like, I look at them and they're like,
in their own world. They're on top of the world.
They have no idea that like how vexed I am at them right now, and I'm like, and that happens literally 90% of the time out here, and I just realized that like, or people pull out and they do something crazy, and I'm like, you literally are oblivious to the fact that you just did that, aren't you?
No
and that I find that is like 90% of like the drivers out here. So as much as you want to be mad, you quickly calm down. Whereas in Toronto, that moment turns into now the next 3 kilometers, you and that guy being
road raging each other.
You know what I mean? Like holy. Sure. So I'm not looking forward to that, to be honest with you. And I know
I hear you. I don't miss that. Actually, that's one thing I don't. There's I think 3 main things that I don't miss about Toronto. Number 1, the weather. Number 2, the traffic.
Yeah.
And what would be number 3? That might be the only 2 things. Yeah.
No, you can't.
I have nothing to say. Yeah.
I don't. I'm not. I mean, there's beautiful women in both cities, but like, there's sure. But there's definitely like there's a larger percentage of people there. Like so, there's just a larger ratio of just population of people, right? So like it's just, and that's what I miss about. I miss some of the busyness.
The busyness, yeah. Definitely.
I do like because the thing is that Ontario, like, what's good is like because it's so big and there's so much that you can do the busyness, and then like when you don't want the busyness, just drive north of the city a little bit, and like you can easily like. Like I when I go back, I've been staying in my buddy's house in Collingwood or in Wasaga Beach, and like beautiful, like you know what I mean, like nice little towns that are like that are not so busy, and like and then you drive, you know, it takes you obviously a couple hours to drive down to the city or an hour or whatever, but then you can get your busyness. Whereas here, like the busiest is Vancouver, and it's not
Granville
that
Street
busy.
On Saturday night.
and I love it. You know what I mean? But like that's like it's so confined to, I don't know. It trips me out to drive around at 11:30 on a Tuesday night and it's a ghost town.
Yeah. There's only a couple pockets here and there where the nightlife is
and like especially in like downtown, you can still get those pockets. But like literally, if you go to the north side, like to North Van or West Van, it is there's
nothing. Yeah,
it's nothing.
Like basically, like you're going to like a craft brewery, right?
Yeah,
that's where the nightlife is.
Again, like I think that like these are good things. Like that it's not that
sure.
that it's not that busy, right? And that's what I'm saying. I appreciate it. Like, and I think that like. On a mental health level, I do better here.
Right.
And the fact that it's not so busy. These things that I seem like, I'm not trying to complain about Vancouver because these are actually amazing things about Vancouver.
Yeah.
What's keeping me from being more so happy here is like, or feeling the satisfaction of mental health and everything like that is the fact that I'm not as busy with my business.
The hustle and bustle of your career would be better suited for.
And I've spoken, and that's the thing is I've spoken to a couple of different directors in Toronto and in Vancouver. Yeah. And they, 2 different guys, both they were like, for what you do, Lee, like you're, for right now, like in your career, from what I see, like you'd be better off in Toronto.
Toronto? Interesting.
Just because of my connection to a lot of music things, especially. Yeah. Like, you know, more of those music things, like sort of, like I said, launch pad from there. Yeah. Or, you know, like, I don't know.
So yeah, it sounds like it's the next best move, right?
For the time being, and like realistically, like you just said, the weather. Like I hate the weather, and so I know that my main plan will be that no matter what I do, while living in Ontario for the next few years, I will just position myself to make sure I'm out by January 10th until like March 10th.
Oh, so you're gonna like shoot elsewhere, like
I'll just make sure that like I just budget myself to have, you know, a month in Vancouver for January, and then a month in California for February or something Mexico or Mexico or whatever, right? Yeah. It's not like, especially like an Airbnb in Mexico for like a couple months is not that expensive.
Cost effective,
right? You know what I mean?
Still cost effective,
and especially if you can do a lot of editing from there, and you know the idea is like, I don't know, I don't want to be around the cold, so I definitely need to get the hell out of there.
So you have a plan for that, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
like
work
a
on
one. Snowbird.
Like that's pretty much. That's kind of what I've been doing for the last few years.
Yeah,
like,
you
know what I mean? Like,
you've been shifting around a lot.
Even last summer I went back to Ontario for like almost 2 months. Yeah. And then I came back here, and then I went back in September for a couple weeks, and then I went back in January for a couple weeks.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Sure. So like.
Yeah. You have a good setup, right? And I was telling you earlier about like the whole movement behind like being a wealthy marketer
Yeah.
and like freedom over time and place is like a big critical factor.
Totally.
It takes years to do it. And you did it in your own way, right? Like through, in large part, like your connections to the music industry, and then getting really good with photography and then video.
Yeah,
right.
Video is what changed it.
Yeah,
like photo. Like I was doing okay.
Yeah,
I was not actually. I wasn't doing I wasn't totally surviving, to be honest.
Yeah.
I had to get a lot of. I ended up getting, especially in like the winter and different times, I ended up getting like some side jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially at points when I lived out here, I definitely wasn't surviving on
You're
just
picking up
photography.
like day jobs kind of thing.
I worked on set a bunch.
Okay.
I delivered pizza because that was super awesome in Squamish. I
Nice.
was working for Panago in Squamish.
Nice, Panago.
You know what the crazy thing is though, that I learned for those 6 months. I knew how to get around Squamish better than half the Squamish residents.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could be like
every shortcut.
Yeah, and I could tell you where 3400 Thunderbird was on the street.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so like yeah. And
so you have a lot of repeat customers.
Oh yeah. And there was lots. It was an interesting job and
at the time, right?
Yeah, and I just burned a lot of weed while I delivered pizza.
Yeah.
So that was what I did.
Sky high pizza delivery guy.
Yes, that was.
BC.
I love that because like the sea to sky,
that
sky
works,
high. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Man.
That was a total accident, but yeah. We don't
I
need
mean,
to cause that.
You may need to have to start your own pizza service up there. Like, yeah, straight up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I love it.
For sure.
So, I mean, in any case, but then I also got on set with like doing like PA work and like grip and all that kind of stuff. Like, but like on some music videos and some commercials and stuff. And that's where I got to see like some of the how Vancouver's like film industry works a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that's cool exposure.
It definitely was.
Priceless to some degree,
absolutely.
Right?
And
we got kind of an in with it.
And I met some good people who are still, I still talk to, and they've watched me sort of like flourish into like a video guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what like one of them, this guy Stefano, he's a really great director from Vancouver, who does like tons of country videos, and he wins like the country music, the CMAs, like whatever. He wins like the CMA country Director of the Year and shit. Yeah.
So like Nashville, Tennessee. Is it Nashville or is it?
No, Canadian. Okay. Like it's out in Calgary or some shit, right? Yeah, that's the Calgary. And so then, but I saw him a couple months ago, and he was bigging me up. He was like, man, he's like, yo. He's like, I see your stuff on Facebook, and he's like, you really
people see it for sure.
He's like, yeah, you've really come into your own, and I love seeing like the mix of like you have of like this. He's like, you're just so Toronto, and I hope you don't mind me saying that. And I was like, actually that kind of warms my heart a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. And it was
you're a Toronto guy at heart, right? And that's so much of you.
But it was still in this environment, right? And that's what he was. That's exactly what he was saying. You know what I mean? He's like, you're so Toronto, but I like the way that you're infusing it into being in this environment.
For sure.
And he's like, I see you sometimes, and I wonder what you could do with like, a bigger budget production.
No
with
kidding.
Like behind you.
Probably amazing things. Right?
And I was like, wow, I appreciate that level of big ups, you know what I mean? And like, but like, yeah. So that all said, like I learned all that stuff when I was here years ago, and then like it was class. Like I had just started kind of playing around with video, just kind of like realizing that I was like, oh, maybe I want to learn more about this.
For sure.
And then it was like in July of 2018.
Yeah.
Classified.
Yeah.
Who's like I went on tour with them as an opening act with Spesh K.
Oh, really?
In like 2009. So I've known
him that long.
I've known him since 2009.
And you met him through Spesh K.
Through Spesh,
and then you guys just formed this like
because basically Spesh lived in Toronto and so did I.
Yeah.
And then Class lived in Halifax and everything.
Yeah.
But Spesh is from Halifax.
Okay.
So like he knew Classified from that time when he used to live there.
Yeah.
But me and Spesh both lived in Toronto, and whenever Classified came through town, Spesh is like, yo, Class is coming to town. We're going to the Much Music Video Awards. We're going to the Grey Cup. We're going to the freaking everything,
like
man.
that.
It was like I always told people that it was like whenever class came through town, it was like I got to live the part of the rap life that.
Yeah,
like,
you live like this the Canadian.
The Canadian rap. Yeah, exactly.
Or the Canadian hip hop
Totally.
celebrity lifestyle kind of thing.
We went to the Junos.
Yeah.
We went to all kinds of shit. It was cool, man. And
Yeah.
so
a lot of that, all those kind of like seeing you at the Junos and being at the Much Music Video Awards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like,
it was all based off your relationship with Spesh, and then Classified, and then
me and Class had like he had known me like as a photographer kind of over the years, but then all of a sudden in 2018 in July he was like, yo, Solo, we got a tour coming up in October.
Yeah.
The Canadian Classic Tour with Choclair, Maestro Fresh Wes, and Classified, and we're doing 28 shows in 38 days, so it was like 5 weeks across from Toronto to Vancouver Island, back to Montreal.
Nice.
And it was like.
And you were on that tour with the video camera.
And that's what he said. He's like I need a tour. I need a 1 minute. Recap of each show.
Yeah.
So I need 28 videos in 38 days. You know what I mean? And like.
Nice.
And I had made.
How did you feel when he asked you that?
I was excited as shit.
Yeah.
But I also was like, I've made 3 videos before. You know what I mean? Like.
That's crazy.
So basically his man and in Class being the big homie that he is, he was like, you got the job basically.
Oh yeah.
But his manager Jason, who bless his heart, was like, Lee, you need to do a tryout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like he like literally just like, and I lived in Vancouver at that time, so like I knew somebody doing like a little hip hop show at the Red Room.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do the video for you for free. Let me just come in and do like I'll do a little video of your. And I made this like local hip hop, local Vancouver hip hop show.
Yeah.
Looked pretty freaking like live as shit.
No kidding.
Because of my edits, you know what I mean? And like,
I think I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, and it was like, and so Class, and then we're like, yo, this is cool. You know what I mean? So basically, they gave me the chance to come on the tour. So I drove back to Ontario.
How did you guys tour? Like, was that by bus? Like,
a big ass tour. But it was
you were
12,
on that tour bus?
12 guys living on a bus.
And like, so who was on that bus? Like, give me like the walkthrough.
It was Classified. His brother Mike Boyd.
Okay.
DJ Ivy. Jake Boyd, who's the younger brother who plays guitar.
Okay.
My boy Dougal, who like I made best friends with like on that tour, like and he lives out here.
Yeah.
And he was the lighting guy and like. Dougal's like MacGyver, like he fixes shit, and he just gets like if there's a problem to do with anything, like
he'll figure it out.
Whether it's a spare tire, like a blown tire, to like he has a whole box of gaff tape. You know gaff tape, man. Gaff tape's the best thing in the world, and like I am the biggest promoter of gaff tape. And because. But like it's because it's better than duct tape. Duct tape like leaves all that residue, you know what I mean, and it hurts and shit. Gaff tape, stick it to walls and then rip it back off, and it's clean and
good to know.
And it's like so strong, and it's like I love it. I love gaff tape. So anyways, Dougal has a whole box.
You on the gaff tape?
He has all different colors because he color codes shit and everything. So anyways, it's great.
Yeah.
And but I met him on tour, and then also but Maestro Fresh Wes was on that. Choclair was on that. My boy Dan was on that.
So with that tour, like, is that how you became closer with like
everybody?
Maestro and
I had never met Maestro or Choclair before that.
Got it.
I had never met them before, and so like, and it was like it's crazy because like now I have like the craziest like bonds and brotherhoods with both those guys.
No
like,
kidding. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Me and Maestro calls me all the time, and like, so what up, King? How's it going, bro? And then he calls me, and he always calls me Tour Bus Fonzarelli.
Tour Bus Fonzarelli?
Yeah. That's what he likes to call me. So like,
I've actually met Maestro one time, and it was like a very like humble interaction. Yeah, he's the only one that I met out of all those people.
He's so cool, man. It's crazy because he's like, that was a few years ago, but at the time, he was 51.
Really?
And like, it's just crazy that I was always up first because I had to get up and start editing.
Yeah.
So I literally went to bed at like 2 or 3, and I got back up at like 6:37 in the morning.
No kidding.
And then like everybody else slept till like 11 or noon
Yeah.
in their bunk.
Yeah.
But Maestro usually got up like
early?
he usually got up like an hour or so after me.
Oh yeah.
And he starts drinking orange juice and raw ginger and like.
I see. He's taking care of himself.
He takes care of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was.
That song though, that classic Maestro song, like "Stick to Your Vision."
Yeah.
It's so good. I have a playlist on Spotify called the All In Entrepreneur Playlist, and like that's a part of it, man. And like I listen to that song.
Have you ever read his book?
No.
He has a great. His book "Stick to Your Vision" is great too. Yeah, and then he just released a children's book.
Really?
A couple months ago. Yeah, it's actually great. It's like he's
awesome.
He's
doing good.
He's living. Yeah, he's living out on the East Coast right now. Actually,
Oh,
he's in New Brunswick because he's like wanting to be closer to his family and stuff like that. So he's been killing it out there, doing awesome, and
good for him.
And then I've made 3 music videos for Choclair now.
No kidding.
You know what I mean?
Could you have ever imagined
that's what
that?
I'm saying.
Could
like
you have ever
as a
imagined
kid,
that?
no.
We grew up on those albums, right?
Yeah.
Because like Canadian hip hop was like a part of the mix. It had to be.
I literally
right?
saw when Choclair was just popping off, and he finally got his moment. He just got his moment and got signed, and he opened for Gangstar.
Did he?
At the government.
Okay.
And I remember me and Trav went.
You went to that?
Yeah. And it was just like me and Trav were there. It was like a sea of just like people that were bigger and than us, and we were just like, whatever, man.
Kidding.
We just want to see you like Choclair, and we want to see and Gangstar, right? And freaking Choclair brought out Cardinal, Terra Chase, Solitaire. He brought out like the whole Toronto crew came out. Yeah, bro. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The energy was probably crazy. Yeah.
It was one of the best
concerts at government, hip hop concerts at government. Yeah, they were.
It was huge, and it was just a great. It's such a great venue, right? So
yeah, totally.
And
it's gone now, right?
Yeah,
they
gone.
shut it down.
It's gone.
They made condos. Yeah. So were you at Up in Smoke?
Yeah, I was there actually.
How epic was that?
It was concert? Dude, it was one of my best ever.
That was like probably like that was an extremely historic period in time, hip hop wise.
Absolutely.
Right, with Dr. Dre kind of like rejuvenating his career off Eminem.
Yep.
Right, and Eminem blowing up. And then everybody, Dr. Dre was there, Snoop Dogg was there, Eminem was there, Ice Cube was there, so many guys, Nate Dogg, right?
Exhibit and Dub C and
totally, man. Like that kind of tour hasn't happened. And even wasn't Cypress Hill a part of it too? Maybe.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't there. But Corrupt was there, and there was a lot of people there, dude. And it was like, it was.
It was a once in
a
lifetime.
It was amazing, and I had lawn seats.
Yeah, me too.
But
hanging out in the same lawn. Okay, but then what did you?
But I just snuck down,
Yeah,
and then got kicked out, and then snuck down, and then got kicked out. I got kicked out. I got kicked out of like at least 5 times. Yeah.
Good on you.
But I just kept sneaking down because I was like, whatever. Like it was amazing, and it didn't even matter. Even if you were on the lawn, it was just like, it was just you were there for the vibe. Like the vibe was there. But to me. As fortunate I feel to have seen that.
Yeah.
It's always a second place to me, or like a very close second to, because I saw Eminem at Opera House.
Yeah.
And Opera House is like a small venue.
Right.
Not a super small venue, but like a Commodore ballroom kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know Commodore?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not you'll never see
Eminem.
You'll never see Eminem at that small of a venue unless you're at a private event for Universal Records or something like that. You know what I mean? And he literally, it was 2 or 3 months after "Hi, My Name Is" came out.
Yeah.
So he
he was just starting to get popular.
And he but like
he hadn't fully blown up quite yet.
Totally, and I had been following him already because my buddy Ribs had shown me his early EPs.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean, the Infinite one.
Oh yeah.
And then
so before My Name Is, and
so like I knew who he, like, oh no, still, and even still what like because remember like the Slim Shady wasn't a Slim Shady EP before an LP.
Okay.
So like there was like 6 or 7 whatever Eminem's and Dr. Dre songs that were on the EP. So you knew this shit was coming. If you were you know what I mean, listening to, and I just happened to have my buddy Ribs who got me educated on it. But so soon as it came out, we knew about it. We bought the tickets. We went to Opera House, and Beatnuts and Outsiders were the openers.
Nice.
And then I just remember Eminem like fucking I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. I never, you know what I mean? And he's like jumping, and he jumps in the crowd, and he's like, and he's riding around the crowd and everything like that, and it's like, I remember that as like, and it was like my, I think I went for like my, I think it was my 19th birthday too. 19th you know birthday? What I mean?
Yeah.
Like so like,
yeah,
it was a big thing.
Was Trav there for that one too?
You know what? I don't think I think
no?
I know you're right. He was.
He was. Right?
He went with someone else because I went with Ribs and I went with like two of my friends, and then I remember seeing Trav and like Laurie or whatever those guys. That's
somewhere on the other
so
side.
crazy.
Yeah. I have a good memory like
that. Damn, bro, that's good.
I have a couple Eminem stories to share. So the way I discovered Eminem was I was in like grade 12 English class, and like you know how everyone was making like burning the mix CDs, right?
Yeah.
So this Filipino guy like beside me. He's like, hey man, I got this this mixtape for you. Basically, it's called Hip-Hopily, and there's like a bunch of random artists on there, right? Yeah. So he hands it to me. I go, I listen to it, and My Name Is was on there. My Name Is was on there by Eminem, and I heard it, and like I was amazed by it, right? I loved it, and I go back to him the next day. I'm like, yo, there's this one track that stood out for me. My Name Is by Eminem. He's like, oh yeah, My Name Is by Eminem. That's a white guy. I didn't even know it was a white guy.
It's crazy you say that because I didn't either at first.
You didn't either?
Nah.
Yeah.
But also. That's because my ear wasn't tuned the way it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like I feel like also we were, you know.
At that time there wasn't really many
it
white
was
rappers.
And exactly. So you're right. So there was that. You didn't jump to a white rapper. You're right. Mm-hmm. Now like and over the years like you know what I mean? It's like I'm for the most part you can tell. Every once in a while you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, for sure. So then my other Eminem story is, you know, talking about that up close and personal, like being at the Opera House, right? So he came back another time, this time to headline a rave.
I knew you were gonna say that. My homie threw that. My homie was the promoter.
Was he?
Yeah, it was the Better Living Center, wasn't it?
Yeah,
bro.
Sounds about right.
Yes, sir.
I went to that rave at the time.
He was a goddamn mess, wasn't he?
No, he was amazing.
Okay, so sorry. He was a mess backstage, and then my homie said that we pumped him full of ecstasy.
Oh, really?
And speed.
So
and then he ran out on stage.
Oh yeah, with proof, by the way.
Yeah,
and I was right there, like very close. Like I honestly feel like I made eye contact with him. In some way, shape, or form.
Totally.
Like, yeah, it was like
it's crazy,
there,
bro.
And he was with Proof, and they put on an amazing show.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I like connected with him. Like
I love it.
At least I think that, you know.
That's because everybody in that room is all fucked up.
Yeah. But I was sober.
Including him, right?
Yeah. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Another time I went to the freaking D12 concert.
Yeah.
At the docks, I think.
Sick.
And Eminem was not there.
Yeah.
But I somehow found my way to the very front of the crowd. I was like, 3 people away from the stage.
Yeah.
And all those guys were popping pills the entire time. Yeah, which is crazy.
Tours a crazy thing, man.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like having seen it like now like firsthand myself too. Like it's crazy sometimes. I will say that like even like I haven't had booze now in June 1st it'll be like 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
good for you.
But like
so what has that done?
But while I was on tour, literally like sometimes like alcohol is like like the supercharge to be able to get through the day, or especially like, like everyone can feel dead and all day and like feel like drug and like sound check and you're feeling like crap and like, you know what I mean? It's like an hour before the show or half an hour and you're just like
you don't even feel like going out there
exactly. And then all of a sudden, we're all on the bus and we're just like, okay, everyone take a damn shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, take one more.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Feel a little edges off.
That's
all
how
right.
it works.
And then all of a sudden you start seeing a couple people being like, we love you, and like that kind of stuff, and that you start feeding off that shit. You know what I mean? And then like
alcohol can unfortunately have that effect.
It does. And then music, and then all of a sudden everyone gets on stage and then music happens, and then that becomes the overpowering thing, right?
No
but then the show's done, and then like. Well, now we can have a couple more drinks again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like it's like that over and over and over again.
And it's that is taxing as shit on your body, right? And
definitely.
And so like So I just think of people like Mick Jagger and like and freaking Keith Richards. Like Jesus, I don't even know how that dude's alive. Do you know they're going back on tour right now? They're going on tour again.
Yeah.
They are They are in their 70s.
Yeah. They're machines.
They're
so do you think they're doing those tours like sober, or you think they're still like?
Yeah, I think they're so. I think those guys are sober by now. Yeah, I don't think Keith Richards can do anything without. I think
it's not sustainable, right?
I don't.
Like,
no,
doing that
I think that guy would. Yeah. I think he would like turn to dust if he
hit the bottle like you guys did on the Canada-wide hip. What was that tour called?
The Canadian Classic Tour.
Canadian Classic Tour.
It was like I always call it the best summer camp of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like because it was like because you're living on a bus.
No kidding.
You know what I mean? It's not like when I go on tour with Snak, we were in hotel rooms. You know, like Snak has his own room.
Oh yeah, it was more of like a luxury tour.
Everybody has you know, or sometimes we would double up certain places. You know what I mean? But like a lot of times, like I always had another, like I shared a room with you know somebody else. You know what I mean? Always on the Snak tour. But but that's fine. Like I get my own bed. Bless, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And you're paying for flights and and food and all these different things, right? Yeah. On the classified tour, you're on a bus, and it was just like it's actually kind of a really cool experience because you're good thing we all got along.
Yeah,
that's
you're all bunking together on the same bus.
Because and you're literally like people's, you know, smelly shoes or like.
Yeah, the bus probably smelled pretty bad.
It got pretty rank. It got pretty rank. We had to do a deep clean at one point. Yeah, it was amazing though, bro. So
yeah, for sure, definitely, man. So that's all interesting. Yeah, so I always wondered about how that connection to the Canadian hip hop community came to be, but it sounded like it just like one thing led to another. You got the relationship with the right person. It sounds like Spesh K, and then that led you to Classified, and then Classified led you to a whole bunch of other people, and then
I mean, like I was doing like the studio stuff too. I've just had like a lot of different connections over the years, right? But it was a lot to do with like Classified being a person that was like over the years I've just done a lot of work for him and like been involved with him, and then Snak saw the videos I was doing for Classified, and was literally, yo, you want to come to Europe?
No kidding.
And I literally finished Classified's tour, like Snak's tour started like a week.
Yeah.
Like they overlapped, you know what I mean? And so
I
was
went from one tour to the next?
Yeah,
you went from a tour across Canada, and all of a sudden you're touring across Europe?
We did the Montreal show Saturday night.
Yeah.
We drove back to Toronto Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I got on a plane Monday to Zurich.
That's bold, man.
And then I did 2 more weeks. So I did 5 weeks with Classified, and then 2 more weeks in Europe. So I did 7 weeks straight.
Nice. And it was nice. How did you feel when it was all said and done?
The same as everybody does. You get post-tour blues.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, bro. It sucks.
So you miss being like all over the place?
Yeah, and you like, because like it's kind of cool to have a fresh bed and like to have and to have and
new
also
energy every day kind of thing.
And like like I there's a dopamine on it, like seeing new things, you know. Yeah, and that's partly why I like being in Vancouver. Is that even on the drive over here today from wherever I was to here, I constantly am on streets I've never been on.
No kidding.
Or I don't remember being on it because I was only on it once.
You haven't seen the Solo District before, right?
I've driven by it before, yeah. But like I've never been in this building. Like it's constantly new shit happening for me here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I like that because
for sure.
I like that sense of dopamine giving me like I'm on an adventure right now, even if it's just
adventures are key, man.
Like, I know you like your adventures.
I'm a big believer in adventures, but I do it as a family man, so it's a little bit different. Like for example, traveling across Canada doing a hip hop tour, and then the next day going over to Europe for 2 more weeks. Like to justify that with my wife, that would be like probably next to impossible. I wouldn't survive. Like
it's true. I wouldn't survive. Yeah. I love it.
Something would not survive. Let's put it that way.
But
travel and adventure though, like it's such a big part of like my DNA personally. I thrive off it, right?
Yep. I think it gives you like an inner satisfaction a little bit.
For sure, man.
So to tackle some of the mundane days.
Definitely, man. Yeah, and something to look forward to. And I also find like when you put yourself in a new environment, that's new energy that makes you a stronger, more kind of like spiritually awoken person too. You know.
Totally. And I'm a big believer in taking yourself out of your comfort zones.
For sure.
And the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone, the more you're going to grow.
Definitely.
And I saw a thing years ago that said, like, you know, people who move 5 times in their life are you know, I don't even remember what the word was. Not that they're better people, but they're, you know, more open people in some ways than the people who stayed in their hometown their entire life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Moving around changes you for the better. 9 times out of 10.
Makes you sometimes learn new languages, new cultures, acceptance and patience of other people and their cultures. You know what I mean? And like, I think that if more people left their own hometown, then more people would be much nicer to people of other towns,
for sure. More open-minded
and
and humbled, right? In a good way.
Absolutely. I think a lot of. I mean, I'm sure. Have you guys been on a vacation to like you know, different like countries, like even Mexico and Dominican Republic?
Yeah.
If you drive like, you know, a little bit outside of the
resort,
you know, the resort area. When I went to Dominican, I had a 3-hour drive to the resort.
Oh really?
For some reason, like we picked the longest point. We were basically in Haiti, or you know what I mean? But like it was because it was a 3-hour drive. Holy, did I see a lot of stuff, right? And it was a 3-hour drive in one of those sketchy buses that, like, the guy wants to go 150 down like that, and you're like doing this the whole time, and like, but like, man, I saw so much stuff. You're just like, man, I'm lucky as shit to live where I live. You know what I mean? And I feel like more people need to have that in their life sometimes when they go take a damn trip. Man, every time I go on a trip, I feel so much better as a person, just that I gained some experience. I learned something different. Like, it's crazy to me that people stay where they're born.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But you know what? But I will say that one of the reasons, and I sometimes lose perspective on that. Why I get so
understanding towards it. Yeah.
Right. Why? And some of the reason why I don't is because I don't have that thing that is keeping a lot of people there, and like that family? Is family.
Yeah.
I don't have kids. Number one, so I can travel. Number two, a lot of people have elderly parents.
Yeah.
Who they don't want to miss too much time with them.
Yeah.
Or miss a moment where that parent needs them because of any medical emergency or something like that, right? So I get
being there for your parents. A lot of people feel like they need to, for fair reasons.
Absolutely.
Right?
Your parents deserve it because they sacrificed everything for you. So in some ways, but it's also.
Yeah, many parents do. Not every parent, but many parents.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like it's a weird thing too, because you need your kids to be able to live their life too. It's an important thing to like. And
if they want to or need to.
Yeah, well, I think that everyone like because a lot of us live for what our parents want us to do. Right, like even into our adulthood, we can sometimes still think of like, like, well, I'm not going to do that because my mom would get vexed. You know what I mean? Like, and like
for sure.
And
you're still trying to please them for their own reasons.
And it's like, and I after the fire, I briefly saw a. Not a shrink, but it's like
like a therapist.
Yeah, something like that, cause some kind of person. And the guy just said to me, he's like, "Is it your life, or is it your mom's life, or your dad's life? Is it your parents' life?" Because at the end of the day, like your parents want what's best for you, but that doesn't mean they're always right.
This is true.
And in some ways we're always like growing up thinking our parents are gods and that they're always right. And that,
we look up to them a lot,
Yeah, and then, or that, even if we know that like they're not always the rightist, we still think that they have some,
level of merit or
but like sometimes but sometimes for real, like you just need to not do what your parents are telling you to do and just go do your own. Because like there's a lot of people who wouldn't have achieved the things that they did in literally medical fields, scientific fields, like all these different fields, if literally their parents didn't tell them, like, so, there's a balance to that. But to the point of like taking care of your parents, I feel like that's something that we owe to them. You know what I mean? So, but like,
And you've been through that whole process too, right? Because
I've been through it, but at the same time, I didn't like. I feel like in some ways I also, because both my parents are gone now.
Yeah.
Like they died at like my mom was 58 and my dad was 70.
I see.
And that has happened both in the last like 7 years.
No kidding. And
So,
I know when your mom died, like that was a real challenging point in your life, right?
Absolutely. It still is. You know what I mean? Like it like, but that's why I feel like I'm dealing with it a lot better now than I was a few years ago.
That's good. So what has allowed you to heal?
I mean, a whole bunch of life experience, but I think like one of them. I think being conscious of your own power, like within your own mind.
Yeah.
And or the potential you can waste if you don't take control of it.
No kidding.
And I think that like I saw in certain ways that like after like my mom died, I remember this fire and all these different shit happened.
Yeah. So wait, did your mom die and then the fire happened?
So, no, the fire
happened
happened and then my mom died like 8 weeks later.
Why don't you share with? Okay. I think this is important to share because when we say a fire, like you literally almost died. You almost died. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like I jumped out of I jumped/fell out of a window.
Yeah.
From like 30 feet up, or 35 feet up. So,
yeah.
and had I not woken up to the smell of smoke, I definitely would have died. Like the fireman said that like if I had stayed in that apartment, I would be dead because of smoke inhalation. Yeah. Because like someone else said to me, like, why didn't you just cover yourself with a wet blanket and go in the tub and I was like, because that would have been stupid.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you would have been okay. And I literally told that to one of the because we went back to like just to skip ahead for a second. We went back to the fire station like a week later and to thank the firemen, like me and the roommates. And I told them about how one of my friends. He's like, no, you would have been dead.
Oh man.
In like 3 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like so. In any case, but yeah, like I woke up with the smell of smoke.
So you woke up to a smell of smoke. Was there flames or just everything was filled with smoke?
When I woke up to the smell of smoke, my place was dark.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really see, so I just kind of walked to the front.
Was it a smoke alarm that woke you up to it?
Weirdly enough, like I woke up by I woke up because it was like 3:30 in the morning when I smelled it, but I had only gone to sleep at like 2 in the morning.
Okay.
On my couch because I'm like I literally sleep still to this day 90% of my life on the couch and not my bed.
Got it.
Even though there's like
to be a perfect bed over there.
You got it.
You got the couch.
West Van.
The floor?
In West Van right now. There's a beautiful. I have a bachelor. There's a couch and there's literally the couch couldn't be any closer. Sorry, the bed couldn't be any closer. Yeah. And yet I still don't make it there.
Choose the couch.
I choose the couch. And to me it's like I feel like there's almost that much more justification after what happened with the fire. Because basically had I been in my bedroom, I wouldn't have smelled it. Like I would have been a lot worse of a situation.
No kidding.
Because it would have
made its way.
It would have like been burning my whole place by that time. If I was in my bedroom. Whereas
the whole place did get burnt, right?
Oh yeah, the whole building. And like, but the only reason why like in my couch I had I had drilled a hole in the wall by accident, and then the landlord had ripped down the drywall in the hallway. So when this and it was still it was exposed like freaking. What is that stuff? Slat and plastic, like the slats, and then the plaster, just old slats. You know what I mean? Like that stuff, and it was like literally the building was like 100 years old, 100 years old, and this wood was so dry. And so he had ripped down all the drywall in the hallway to try to figure out what the wiring was, and then realized it was a hot mess, and then and this left it exposed for a long time.
Oh shit!
And then what happened was that like when the fire like started. Like out, someone by the way like did arson to the back of the building.
Oh really?
They found a gas can back there.
Oh my god.
And our fire escape was also our wooden like deck. You know what I mean? So like It was a good place to like a fire escape should maybe be metal. You know what I mean? Like
probably.
In any case, so they lit it on fire. So our fire escape
on fire.
Is on fire, and it's like the back of the building. And so basically, like the smoke started coming into the hallway.
Yeah.
And because it went in, there was no drywall.
Yeah.
It literally the smoke went right into that little hole that I had drilled, and it was like literally right by my nose.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I just like I woke up. It was like
it's a good thing you drilled that hole.
And I literally smelled that. But then as I got up, as I'm walking to the door, the smoke alarm starts going off.
Yeah?
And then I opened up. So there's an internal hall because I lived above a store.
Yeah.
Like on College Street.
Yeah.
And there was 2 apartments and then another 2.
Right.
And there's like an internal hallway, and I just opened up the hallway, and there's like. That's where all the flames were.
Yeah.
It was like a horror movie. When you open up the door.
So you open the door and there's flames everywhere.
There's flames. Then I was like,
that's fucked up.
I was like, holy shit! And just bang, closed the door.
Shit. And then what?
And then I just ran to the kitchen. I turned on the light, and I ran to the kitchen to grab the fire extinguisher because I was half asleep, thinking I could do something about it. And I was so paranoid of fire happening in my building. I literally had 3 fire extinguishers in my apartment.
No kidding.
And then freaking so I when I turned on the light and I was grabbing the fire extinguisher, fucking smoke's pouring through the ceiling tiles. Yeah, so I was just like, I'm out of here. And I just went back to my front door. I put on my LeBrons. I took one last look at the recording studio. It was I have a 30.
You had put so much so much history was there.
Crazy history, bro. It was like 15 years of shit in there, right?
Yeah.
There was 500.
It was a shrine, basically.
Yeah, like there was 500 CDs and 500 vinyl and techniques and 2 Macs and 2 PCs and there's so much stuff. It was so awesome, and I just custom built like all my sound traps, my custom desk, like everything. But anyways, like I knew hard drives weren't going to survive throwing it out the window, much less maybe even me. So like, you know what I mean? So like I just climbed out and I busted out the screen window and I climbed out and there was like a ledge, so I just kind of like turned myself around and like hung on the ledge, and then I was like I lowered myself down so that I could shimmy over the ledge, and then I was like hoping that like there was a duct for the restaurant below. And I just figured,
try to like slide down
I figured I was gonna shimmy down that, you know what I mean? So I tried to make my way over to the duct, and that's the last thing I remember is, ow, that's hot.
Oh shit!
And I think the duct was so hot that it probably just sent me into shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And made me let go. But I also, so as I was like inching over to that duct though, I hear 2 screams of 2 guys as they're running around the corner, and it was like yo, does anybody need help? Anybody need help? Oh shit, dude, don't jump.
Oh shit.
And it was the lead, it was the owner of Sneaky D's.
Okay.
And the lead bouncer.
Oh yeah.
And and they had just been closing up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they saw the smoke, and so they started running over, and they're coming around the corner, and I'm the first one out of my building, right? Like, and they see me, and he's like, yo, dude, wait, and like all I remember is like, ow, that's hot.
Yeah.
And then standing up off the ground.
Oh, standing up off the ground.
And like I just like.
So
basically, what happened was that like I got like as I fell, that lead bouncer got to me just in time to catch my legs, and then my head swung over and cracked the ground.
Oh, really? So he broke your fall.
He broke the fall though.
He probably saved your life, maybe.
He honestly he might have, because who knows how bad the fall to my head would have been after, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. He definitely saved me probably for some broken legs. Broken ankles, like all, you know what I mean? Like femur, like who fucking knows what could have happened, bro?
Yeah.
Like, and so like, and fortunately I have a hard German head, and I just stood up. It was pouring blood, but I was like, I'm good. Let me start catching neighbors.
No kidding.
So I literally, my buddy, like literally who was below me, he like said he was looking for his cat. And like he looked out the window and saw me drop.
Oh shit!
Through his window, you know what I mean? He's like, "Oh shit, I guess I gotta go."
No kidding.
And then so we caught him, and then we caught the other person from the.
Oh, so people were jumping and you were catching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who came from my level was too scared to jump, so he waited for the fire department, which is literally across the street.
Oh yeah.
And they got him on a ladder, and then the ambulance guy came to me and was like, "Bro, we got to take you to the hospital." So,
That's insane.
So yeah, so that
then
was...
when you go through a life experience like that, did it change things for you? Did you look at life differently immediately after that happened, or you didn't even have time to think about it because then next thing you know,
Mom, exactly.
Uh-huh.
It was a complicated situation because basically like my dad picked me up from downtown, and then like on a Friday morning, like my mom had reached the worst that she had been at that point, and then Monday we took her to the hospital, and she was basically there for the next 8 weeks. And so were we.
Right.
We all took shifts at being at the hospital.
No kidding.
At like, you know, for like over the night, like, you know what I mean? We all pretty much I would go home, you know, and like we didn't really do much else. Like I did try to go out and see a couple friends and try to get some separation of how stressful it was, but like for the most part we all took shifts at the hospital, and then I did like have a couple of things of like trying to go down to the old apartment, but I only got to do, I didn't get to do much because they shut it down for, the insurance people shut it down for a couple of months.
I see.
Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, but anyways, the point was that I didn't really, I was trying to process all that while also like
your mom was
losing my mom. So it's like,
that's a lot. That's two very traumatic situations to happen all in the span of
2 months.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was easier to put like, you know, loss of possession in better perspective because I'm like, my mom's losing her life, right? And this, you know, material goods can be replaced. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
And it set me on a path of just like very much like a whole different like, I you know.
Yeah, that combination of those two life events ultimately
definitely for the next little while
led you down. Kind of like a YOLO path, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately,
maybe a little bit of that.
Yeah. Once and like didn't like your
for the next like wow
your adventures and your travel and your kind of like getting out there into the world. Isn't that when it started to like happen? Or something like that.
The Beautiful Escape.
Oh, The Beautiful Escape.
Yeah, and it was like I took inspiration from a Classified song because it was one of his songs, and his album came out while I was on the trip.
Yeah.
And on the album was that song.
Got it.
So I literally, like, I knew I had already been filming a bunch of GoPro footage and, you know what I mean, just kind of messing around. But I knew I wanted to put together, like, a little documentary of the trip.
For sure.
But I didn't really know, I just, as I found that song, I was like, this is the song. But yeah, like, I basically left, I was gone for, like, 6 months.
Yeah. And that was your first real time being away from home for a long time.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I'd only been to like, I'd only for longer than you know what I mean, a week or two. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very different type of adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
experience.
And it was just like, and it was on my own. Like even like even when you like, I have my one buddy. Like I told him, he's like, bro, every time you remind me of that story of you driving by yourself into the desert and like with like minimal gas. And like, and then like being in there, like the one time of the year, it's like minus 15 in the desert.
You were expecting it to be cold in the desert, right?
No, I was not.
It
was January, so I'm kind of stupid to not think that it was going to be somewhat colder, but I didn't realize it was actually like Canada cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that I was
putting yourself in another dangerous
situation. I didn't realize I was going to lose so much cell signal, and then I thought this thing that I kept going a couple of times on the trip. I was pretty good about like going into different cities.
Yeah.
You know, getting on Google.
Yeah.
And figuring out, okay, where's the dopest spots to figure out, like the spots that are not just. I don't want the tourist spots. I want to get like the sick ass, spot of like the Golden Gate Bridge from under another bridge or from another. You know, I want to be like down where the crackheads are to be able to get that. You know, so I did a lot of that, and it was like it worked out for the most part for a lot of times. But then but every once in a while it didn't work out. And the one in the Grand Canyon worked. I went and saw the Grand Canyon. It was great. But then I was like, I wanted to go see some crazy waterfalls.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was like 3-hour drive away.
I see.
And I was like, should I wait for tomorrow morning? And I was like, no, I'll just go tonight because it's only like I was done at the Grand Canyon and it was like 6 or 7 p.m.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not ready to go to bed right now.
So you go do it, get the sunset waterfall, and be back by
12.
12.
Well, no. It was like this is nighttime. It's like it's 6 or 7 night.
Okay.
So I figured, and it was dark.
Yeah.
It was already dark because it was winter, right? So it's already dark. So
already,
I figured I would just drive to this waterfall, and I would sleep there for the night, and then like go into the waterfall the next morning or go figure it out. But like I arrived, but I also thought I was arriving to like some sort of town. I didn't realize that I was driving for 3.5 hours
in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I would say for a good hour of that, I drove somewhere between. I tested my car. How fast can I make this thing go?
Yeah.
Because I saw nobody. I got it up to 100. I got it up to 195.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Damn.
And I drove like that.
You burned the gas.
Well, yeah. Turns out that burns more gas, right? Yeah. So yeah. In any case, I arrived at a dead end. Was it fun at the time though? When you it was super fun. It was super fun. But then I arrived at it was like, it was like 11:30.
Yeah.
And I arrive at like this like dead end.
Oh, fuck.
It's like this crazy canyon.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bunch of trucks, but they all look like they're like construction trucks. The guys like probably drive there to then use those trucks or whatever around.
Yeah.
And like I just realized that I was in the middle of nowhere and there was no gas.
And it was freezing cold.
And so I just slept there for the night. I woke up the next morning. I had like the smallest bit of gas. And I just made it. And it was
You made it back to the gas station.
I literally like the last like leg of like I made it into like the next morning on Route 66. I saw some dude. I'm like, dude, where's there a gas station? He's like, oh, over that hill. And I was like, oh my god, like. So like, but like, meant to be then. It was just a bunch of little crazy stuff that happened within all that. But like,
for sure.
The point being is just like the level of just going out on your own. You know what I mean, and not
finding yourself to some degree, right?
But it was it was finding yourself, and it was also I feel like there was a bit of a death wish on that trip too.
Oh yeah.
I did a lot of crazy shit that like today I would be like, I'm not.
You were taking more risks with your life, kind of thing.
I was like, I almost died. My mom died. Like,
yeah.
Fuck everything. You know what I mean? Like,
So. And probably like alcohol feeding into that too, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's and to your point of why I'm doing better now. It's
a lot of it is the no alcohol.
Yeah, I think that I think it's the second I stayed away from alcohol for like 6-7 months, I was just like I found so much clarity and like I found
it does fog your brain, right?
Not that I was a big drinker. I was never a drinker in my teens or my 20s. I literally discovered alcohol when my mom died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Bad timing.
No kidding.
So, I've always smoked weed, but I feel like I'm still me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Alcohol is not it's you and your demons, and it's like the worst coping version of you. And I always say like if you have bad things going on, alcohol is gonna make coping with that shit worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it numbs the pain for a moment, and then it like brings it out in other ways.
Totally.
For the worse.
Totally. So like when I first like discovered it, it was like, oh, this is kind of fun. You know what I mean? But also didn't realize how much actually inner sadness it was probably leading to. Yeah. And then after a while, you really realize like, wow, this is, you know, and then like I said, like getting away from it, I'm just like I realized so much. Like I found my vocabulary was better.
For sure.
Like you know what I mean? Like you just like you.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
perform
man.
better and speak better.
Yes. Like it's crazy
function
how much
better even.
That shit is, you know, in small volumes it's fine.
For sure. Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to be a preacher. I think it's anybody who can do it and like be like controlling of it, then like I think that's great. Then you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. At the end of the day, like the most important thing is you got to like make healthy choices, the best healthy choices that you can make. And if that's no alcohol or a little bit of alcohol or something in between, like, you got to like try to like your best to navigate it.
Yeah.
You know, but
balance.
Obviously, like substance abuse or use, it can be a slippery slope, right?
100.
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask you about one other story, the 6th Street Bridge in LA. Like you were on the news.
Yeah.
You found your way to LA, and then you found yourself on like the LA news at one point, right?
Yeah.
You were documenting and capturing the 6th Street Bridge, which is about to be demolished, which is like an iconic kind of like Fast and Furious and like Hollywood.
I love that you remember that, like, because not everybody knows about the 6th Street Bridge. You know what I mean? And when because I like when people know about it and they yeah, because it is like it's the thing is that even if you don't know about it, you do know about it.
You've seen it.
You've literally seen it in one of the movies.
Yeah,
Grease. How many? We've all seen Grease, right? Like I feel like for the most part, whether you liked it or not, that's fine. But I'm saying like that iconic racing scene. You know what I mean? Those guys are like it's there. It's there. Terminator, Fast and the Furious, or like so many movies.
Definitely.
Are including that bridge and music videos and like Usher, remember that like it was My Way or whatever, like he's like dance Pussycat Dolls, freaking like so many videos and like so that's why I was just like
on it or under it.
Yeah, and when I got to LA, I was on the hunt for it, because like getting underneath it.
Yeah.
Getting down into the LA River. Yeah. There's that like you know what I mean, that sketchy like tunnel. Yeah. That's the tunnel that like, you know, where I'm talking about like Usher and Pussycat Dolls. They do their little dancing sequence like coming out of that tunnel. It's sketchy. It's one lane. You feel like you're gonna hit like 20 homeless people while you're driving through it.
You're driving through it. Yeah, you walked across it at one point.
That's where I'm talking about doing, you know, sketchy things I don't think I would do as much anymore. Like
you walked across the arc of the bridge.
Well, it's like the metal arches that go on top of the bridge, right? But the thing about when we were on top of those arches is you weren't just falling down. Like if you fell off one side of the arch, you fell onto the bridge. Yeah. But if you fell off the other arch, there was the extra like 300 feet down to the LA River, right? So like it was just like
so that would be an example of like a pretty like bold like reckless thing.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't do that today, right?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
No, I just.
And you can't do it today because it's gone now, isn't it? Did they take it down, or did they figure out a way to keep it?
No, they built a new one.
Oh, they built a new one. Okay.
Yeah, and but I think it looks kind of similar. I don't know. I'm confused. I haven't really checked up on it. I think they built a new one and it looks similar.
Similar, okay.
But
and then there was all those crazy like LA people that were there too, right?
Yeah, because like everyone knew that they were closing it literally like within the next couple days. Yeah. And the coolest thing happened with that because I went there a couple times. Oh, did you? I think I went there like 3 different times because I kept going. After I went there one night, I was like, "This is sick! I'm coming back tomorrow night." You know what I mean? Because like I knew everyone was coming to try to get their last amount of pictures. So all these lowriders showed up. And they like literally they got their boys to like drive down to the end of this bridge and down to and they like drove their car across the road to block traffic.
Oh yeah.
And like there's all these people at either end like beeping while these guys are just doing a photo shoot and just like just taking control of it until the cops showed up. You know what I mean? And helicopters showed up and all this stuff. And then one night I was down there like down underneath the bridge. Because I had done all this stuff cool on top, and then we went down underneath the river, and I met this guy from Marco. I met him down there, and we were down there, and we see these guys like doing this, like putting ropes around like the freaking like around those braces that we were doing, and we're like hundreds of feet down, like looking up, and then all of a sudden we see this guy like get up on the edge of the thing, and we're like, yo, what the hell is this guy doing?
No kidding.
And then all of a sudden I was like trying to fumble for my like GoPro and stuff like that, and freaking all of a sudden like this guy just like jumps off and he starts doing like Navy SEAL guys.
Navy SEAL guy?
You know what I mean? Oh, he just like freaking like he's like going all the way down. I was like, whoa! It was like hundreds of feet all the way down.
Yeah.
And then
like a military.
Yeah. And then he like. And then, like, I guess he got his boys at the top, like let it go quickly as soon as he got, and then the whole thing comes, and he starts packing it up in his bag, and me and Marco are, like, running over to him, like, whoa, bro, that was sick. And I had the camera, and he's like, yo, don't film me. And I was like, oh, shit, my bad. And then, like, freaking, he's, like, trying to pack it up. He's like, thanks, boy. He's like, yeah, I gotta get out of here. I was like, what are you running for, man, right? And then he darts off, and he runs off into the bush, and then the second he popped into the bush, fucking the cop lights come right through the tunnel. Yeah. Right, and they come right to me and like and Marco, who I have my car parked in like the river and stuff. You know what I mean? And he's like, you guys see anybody doing any coming off the side of the bridge? And we're like, nah, man. We didn't see shit.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean? It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah,
like,
because what was up.
But he knew he was like the cop would come and get him fast. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
Yeah, and then I did the craziest like e-brakes, like because the river. Like
a little bit of water.
It's only like when you're at the river, it's really wide. You know what I'm talking about, like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's only when it's dry, it's or not that wet. It's only like 10 feet wide. The other like 100 feet wide is like dry. So like you drive, you know what I mean? Or sometimes like you just drive in the dry part and then go into the wet part and then just like crank it, and then it does like that cool like water spray and like man, I did so much cool shit, and then I lost the GoPro at the beach.
Oh, did you?
With all
and you don't have
that
footage? You don't have the footage of that?
I learned a lesson that day, boys.
Yeah. So
I had like 2 or 3. I had like 2 months. I had
2 months of footage from your GoPro?
Footage on my GoPro, and then I lost it. So then that was a lesson to back up every time.
Yeah. Every day, kind of like
every time you go out and film, back it up.
Awesome, man. That's a crazy story, crazy experience. So you're going back to Toronto soon, and it sounds like sadly we'll be losing you here in BC, but you're going to be setting up shop in Toronto potentially for the long term. Obviously, you're going to be moving around and making things happen. But like, what does your vision for the future look like? What do you want to see yourself accomplish within, let's say, the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years?
Oh man, jeez, you're my guidance counselor right now, man.
Yeah, but now I'll support you whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lead you otherwise.
Yeah, like honestly,
I'm
still like I feel like I'm still figuring that out in a lot of ways. But I do I see myself getting like, as much as I enjoy making music videos. I know I'm gonna get back to Toronto. I'm gonna focus on a number of different freelance ways, and I do want to make more business. I like the idea of making some videos for small businesses, because I've done those
for sure.
and
there's
fun.
Big demand for that, right?
And they're fun, and they're not as demanding like as like a big jump, like Nike. You know what I mean? Like so it's kind of, and again, like that's what, and it keeps the kind of production crew smaller and stuff. But
keeps the cash flowing too, because like small business, you can get that small business check a little bit easier.
Yeah, right? Well, the bigger corporations, they're gonna make you wait the 30 to 60 days or whatever it is, right? So, so the point is that I like small business. I like making music videos. But honestly, I feel like I see myself going into documentary style. Yeah. Because I've already done kind of documentary things with like. Right. Going on tour with artists and stuff like that, and I just would like to do more of that for things that I'm
interesting people or topics to document, and then produce documentaries with the camera in hand, and then
and I like because I want to travel, man. I want to. I think I think
want to continue to do that.
I think
see more of the world.
The further we go in time, the more difficult travel will become.
There will be new roadblocks,
Absolutely, and it's already. And I saw a photographer say that, like I remember seeing it on my Facebook, like from him, like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah,
and he
before
was
the pandemic.
Way long ago, and he had just come back from a trip, and he had all these problems at the border and everything. And he was like, man, like he's like, I can see it now. He's like, really, like he's like, I'm blessed to be a photographer who travels, because I think as we go on, travel will get more difficult because of vaccines or whatever it is.
Yeah, like government involvement.
You got it, man. And I think that if there's ever a time that we can all agree on that, it's right freaking now.
For sure.
Because
it goes to show you, even with the pandemic, imagine all that travel that you did. You're lucky you did all that travel when you did.
Yeah. I've had people say that to me.
And then you had to wait like more and more years.
Yep.
Right?
I've had people say that to me, like over, like during, I remember like in a couple months into the pandemic, they're like, oh, Lee, because I had just gone to Europe like a little bit before that, and they were just like.
I went to Europe too. I went and visited Nick Tetzlaff. He lives in Paris, right?
Shut up.
Yeah, I went and visited him in November of 2019 to Paris, and then Paris to Amsterdam, and that was my first ever European experience. Sick. And like, had I waited, people are like, oh, wait till next year, wait till the summer. I still would be waiting, Yeah.
And I think that it's only going to get more difficult, right? So the more I can travel for work and opportunities I would like to work more on like building myself on a YouTube platform.
Nice. So getting a YouTube channel going and building an audience there.
Exactly. And I think that can give me like, certain opportunities to be able to travel. I really fell in love with Norway.
Yeah.
And I want to go back and explore the whole country.
Yeah.
Because it is like, we got amazing mountains here.
Right.
But Norway's mountains are pretty next level.
Yeah.
Like, and just like, I don't know. It's It's pretty awesome, man. Like,
Awesome, man.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
But the world's a big place,
through,
period.
So through the, yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's there for us to see, ideally.
That's it, man.
Right?
And that's what, back to the point of staying at home. It's crazy, right?
For sure. Definitely. So it sounds to me like through the power of video production, right? Through the power of video production, your Toronto roots, right? Your love for travel, right? A combination of all those things is going to lead you down a path of fulfillment, right? You're gonna create videos for businesses. You're gonna create videos for the music people, and then you'll even be able to do things long form, documentary wise, right?
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
And I
We're
honestly
ironing it out here on the Wealthy Marketer Show.
Well, and I definitely am. I'm working on a lot of it already, and I know that like
you're already doing it.
But like you said, man, like it's about fulfillment for yourself. I'm not about. Sure. I don't really want to. I know there's a lot of easier ways to do things, but screw it.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you, man. I'm with you, and I support you.
Like, why take the easy way when, like, if I have to live 3 lives, okay, well, maybe I'll do the easy way on one of them. You know what I mean? But like, you have one life.
It's not as fulfilling the easy way either, right? Yeah.
You have one fucking life, dude. Like, it's crazy when you actually think about it.
Yeah.
Like and like we didn't think about it when we were younger and all those things, but like, you know what I mean. But like when you actually,
we were just taking it day by day.
And I just watched, as one last quick note, but like I just saw a thing with Gary Vee talking about it, and he's like we don't operate in a way that like we all could die in a car accident tomorrow, tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, bro. But like I just like we have to take more for appreciate and have more gratitude for the fact that we haven't been killed in an accident. I see this guy knocking away over here. But also, like, even today, as I was cleaning my car, man, I'm like, man, I'm grateful I have arms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All the blessings.
It's crazy that we don't actually.
This conversation. Yeah. Gratitude all around.
Be grateful for every little small thing and expect nothing.
Definitely.
And you'll be super happy in life.
So that's a wise man right there. How can we tie this back to like the Wealthy Marketer and the Wealthy Marketer movement, right? You kind of like, to some degree, maybe doesn't look that way like on the surface, but like you kind of like exemplify what the process that people need to go through to become a wealthy marketer. The right mindset, which you have. You skilled up, you went from audio to photography to then video and made a monetizable skill. My understanding is you've made investments, right?
Yeah,
important.
I have.
You have you've made time for travel and adventure, super
Absolutely.
important. It's part of your livelihood,
yeah.
Right? You've gotten freedom over your time and place. So you've already gone through the process, and you're an example of what's possible. When you do kind of like go down that path of pursuing your dreams and finding fulfilling work to do, and then using that as a means to lead a fulfilling life. Lee Solo is an example here of what's possible.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
You go through the process of becoming a wealthy marketer without even knowing it.
I think I'm more and more getting in tune with it actually. As I'm to your point of the business thing, I really am that much more in tune with the importance of the business side of things, because at the end of the day, there's lots of people who are not always the best in their field, but because they're good at the business side of things, and the talking and the schmoozing and the emailing and all that,
the selling, the invoicing and all that kind of stuff,
the
books.
And I can tell you, like, I see photographers and directors and videographers who are not as, I don't think necessarily maybe as good as me, but but ultimately maybe they're better than me because they're better at the business side, and ultimately that is part of it.
You got to work on that.
You can't. You
got to have both, right?
Unless you have a manager,
the work, and be able to manage the business side.
Totally. Unless you have a direct business manager handling it all, you don't get to play just artist. If you want to, if you want to be the guy,
Yeah, definitely. If you want to make money doing it, right?
Yeah, and if you want it to last, like, long, because there's many photographers and videographers who don't last.
No, they kind of like burn out, and they're like, I got to bail on this and
absolutely,
go back to
and it's
doing
not.
What I was doing
Because it's a constant hustle to keep getting that new business, right?
Getting back to being the sky high pizza guy.
I ain't
the sky high pizza delivery guy.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
No offense, Panago.
Yeah, you're way past that for sure.
And
I think you're gonna do just fine as we kind of like as things unfold post pandemic and this next decade that's very important
Absolutely,
to people
bro.
like ourselves. 1981, 40 years old. It's time to really like
flourish.
Realize our full potential.
I have so much faith in where I'm about to go. I feel like now is the prime freaking time.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, and I know you were doing. I know you're the same thing, and I'm proud of to see where you moved along, bro.
Trying, man. You know, we're going for it. Like, you know, there's time is of the essence at this point. We're running out of time, right? So, why not go after fully what we want and what we think we're capable of?
Like we just said it, right? Yeah. Like why else? Because otherwise you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah, for sure.
The last thing you want to do is be on your deathbed and have regrets.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we won't be those guys.
Fuck that, bro.
And on that note, thanks for coming on the
Hey
show.
man, a pleasure.
It's been a crazy conversation. I think we pulled out some real gems and dug deep with you, which is important to me. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.